I found an amazing $10,000 grant that is worldwide, free to apply for, and no business is required. And so if you've been waiting for a sign to take action on a dream, then this is it. Because there are organizations just like this one, willing and ready to fund your ideas. And so there's never been a better time than right now to start a business. And if you use my unique strategies, you'll be able to start a business with other people's money. And so although this $10,000 opportunity is open for anyone to apply to, it's not for everyone, because they are looking for a unique group of people that are willing and ready to take action. And so right now, we're in a time where there's the biggest shift in economic wealth, and there are people who are actively creating space for opportunity. And before I dive into the specific details of this $10,000 grant, I need you to first know how important it is to be grant ready. And so when I say grant ready, that means first having your mindset right. And so I know that life can be challenging. It can sometimes feel like rejection after rejection, but you cannot let that stop you or get in your way. And you have to believe that a win is on its way to you. It's not a matter of if, but of when. And so you've got to go into any opportunity with the mindset that this one could be the next one that you win. Secondly, as a creator, founder, innovator, you can have both a personal and business presence. A personal presence looks like having a LinkedIn profile, whereas a business presence is having a legal entity in place. And so for the specific grant, you can have either or, but you need to have some way for this organization to learn more about you, because you truly are amazing. It's now time for the grant judges to understand that truth as well. If you have any questions on how exactly to get grant ready, I have a full step-by-step tutorial and checklist inside the Grant House. And I've left more details on how you can get connected in the description below. So now let's get into these grant details. So here we are on the O'Shaughnessy Fellowship website. This is the first place you'll go to before you apply to the grant. And so what I would generally recommend when you find any grant opportunity, especially this one, is to determine early on, if not at the very beginning, whether or not you're a good fit for the grant, because that should be top of mind as you read through who this grant opportunity serves. What's great about the O'Shaughnessy Fellowship program is that it'll help you go from idea to actual reality while keeping 100% ownership. And that's truly the really big benefit that you get when you apply to a grant. And so a few candidates will actually be chosen to receive $100,000. I just want you to take a moment and imagine what you could do with $100,000 and how your life would change. And so the sooner you get clarity around that idea, the better your chances will be at winning this grant. And so as you go through the website, you're going to notice that they've kept everything very simple. But one area that they do focus on is showcasing the previous winners. And so what I would recommend for this grant and any other grant that you come across is to do your research on previous winners. You want to look at, did they have a website? Did they have a social media page? And then what type of business or idea did they have? A really good prompt that'll help you in this research is right here. Act like a grant research analyst with 15 plus years of experience. I will paste text from a website that includes information about past grant winners. Analyze the text and identify patterns and commonalities across the winners. Only use the information provided. Focus on business type or industry, stage of business, idea early established, mission or impact themes, language, tone, and storytelling style, target audience or community served, as well as any signals of why they were selected. Then provide the top 5 patterns across winners, what the judges likely prioritize, and a simple winning formula someone could follow. And so instead of doing the research manually, one by one, you can instead use AI to speed up the process. And so in a matter of seconds, ChatGPT lets me know the top 5 patterns it's noticed across the grant winners. And so we see that it's a mix of tech, art, science, and community. In addition, people are in early stage or experimental work. And so whether you have an idea or you have a full-blown business, you can apply for this grant program. The next pattern ChatGPT noticed is that the winners had a strong mission-driven impact. And so they focused on humanity, education, accessibility, environment, and culture. There were ideas around clean air in schools, disability inclusion, and preserving knowledge. And what was unique about these winners is that they combined personal and intellectual storytelling, and they emphasize a deep curiosity or obsession with their idea. And so truly what the judges are caring about is originality over polish, intellectual depth and curiosity, as well as mission clarity and founder narrative. And so in a matter of seconds, AI is able to show you what the judges truly care about so that you can turn around and model the success of previous winners. And so a simple winning formula that you can use for this grant is to combine your personal story plus your big idea plus human impact. And so if you don't have clarity around those 3 areas, then this grant isn't right for you. And that's okay, because there are millions of other grants available. In fact, I share freely a $6 million grant list inside the Grant House. But if this is the right grant for you, there's a few more details you need to know. And so the 3 ways you should position your application is to shift your mindset from I run a business to I'm building a specific product or service to solve a specific human problem. Secondly, it's important that you lead with your story, not your offer, as they want to know more about what led you here and what your journey was like. And then lastly, it's important that you emphasize the bigger picture. Go beyond money or growth, but truly focus on the impact, systems, as well as the future, and how the future would be better with your idea in place. And so at this point, if you've done the exercise, you should have more clarity. Now to take it to the next level, it's time to see what you need in place to make your application truly stand out. And so I asked, what do most of the winners have? And so ChatGPT responded back that most of the winners have at least one of the following: a website, LinkedIn, or Twitter account. In fact, most of the winners had a website. Now, before you run away, I know how scary it can be building out a website. But now with AI, it's never been easier. And so I'm going into detail about this grant so that you have the best chance of winning, because I don't want you to waste your time. And it is crucial that you get prepared as much as possible before you actually apply to the grant, as 80% of your success will be determined on your grant readiness. And so at this point, you know what's important to the grant judges. You also know what you need ahead of time before you apply to this grant. It's now time to move to the grant application. The way you would access a grant is by clicking the Apply Now button. One important note to make is that the deadline is April 30th. And so here we are on the grant application. The O'Shaughnessy Fellowship and Grant Program unites the world's most bold and undiscovered researchers, builders, and creatives from all over the world to discover, build, and spread path-breaking ideas. And so with this program, there will be an opportunity to get $100,000 with the fellowship program, as well as $10,000 grants. And so when it comes to some of the areas the grant awardees have focused on, it includes synthetic cells, saving dying languages, building homes for homeless children, researching biological machinery to stop aging, as well as making sci-fi films. And so whatever unique, bold idea that you have, this is a wonderful opportunity to share it. And what's even better is that the application to secure a $10,000 grant is very simple. And so it first asks you to tell them about yourself. It's going to ask for your name, your location, as well as your website and social media profiles. It'll ask you 8 main questions. First, to list 3 of your most exceptional achievements. Second, to explain exactly what you're working on. Third, why are you the best person to work on this, and what is your novel approach? Then it'll move on to requesting a video. I know that this can be challenging to create, but with AI, it's never been easier. In fact, I have inside the Grant House a free prompt that will review your video as if it were a grant judge, and then turn around and give you clear feedback on how you can improve it. And so this shouldn't be a reason that stops you from applying if this is an opportunity that aligns with you. And so once you submit the video, it will then ask you to describe what success and failure look like. Once you do that, you last need to submit a 1-page PDF outlining your action plan for your project, as well as describe something that you find beautiful in the world. And so at this point, you're done with the short response questions. You can now move on to the easier part, where it asks about prior funding. Once you complete it, it will then ask you, how did you hear about the O'Shaughnessy Fellowship Program? Select Other and type Darcy's Business. And so once everything looks good with your grant application, you've done grammar and spelling check, and even had some other friends, business owners, or co-workers in your circle review your responses, it's then time to hit submit and wait for the organization to get back to you. And so at this point, you've successfully gotten grant ready, done the research to make sure the O'Shaughnessy Fellowship grant is a great fit for you, and you filled out a high quality application. I just want to give you a round of applause and say I'm so proud of you in the effort that you're putting in. And so as you continue to plant those seeds, it's important that you trust there will be a harvest for your efforts. And so if this grant sounds like a perfect fit for you, make sure to click the link in the description below for more details. I cannot wait to see you next time. Peace, stay building.